finish this template. All right. So let's start off today's session. Today's session, we are talking about the writing of the crisis management plan. And in Business Continuity Institute, BCM Institute, what we are doing most of the time is actually to follow the methodology. Now, the reason is because if you want to start a crisis management program, you actually start off with the program project management. The example, what we're doing now is you need to have the management decision to say, hey, from the look of it, we are not adequately prepared for crisis. That's assuming they know what's the difference between crisis and disaster. That's the first thing. The second thing is to do what we call crisis risk assessment. This is where we go into, remember, most of you are always, remember the lesson that Irene went through? You are focused on category 1 and 2. Technology disaster, the first one is a normal natural disaster, but you're not focusing on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why? Because it doesn't happen in Singapore, and it happens, we call the police. This is the part that you have to really, for this course, you want to pick this up, this is the only time you can pick up. And it's a lot of good thinking process. Remember, this course makes you think. It doesn't give you the answer, it gives you think. So from here, you have think about even up to country evacuation. Like now, if you have, hopefully you have no operation in Kabul, in Afghanistan, you will be scrambling like hell. Okay, if I have people in Kabul, I've embassy in Kabul, I will evacuated them 1 week ago already. The family we out 2 weeks ago. Okay, like what I did in Jakarta. Okay, they are out about 2 weeks before it happened. Then someone says, what do you know that MFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and no, that does not know? How come you are able to evacuate your team earlier? Because we're in the private sector, we make a decision first. We don't want to double confirm and then we leave. Okay, so these are just examples of decision making. Then what happens? We do BIA. For your case, don't have to do BIA, because BIA, I go back to the BCM team and say what are critical business function that will be affected should we have a crisis. Sometimes doesn't mean you need to be denied access for the critical function to be denied access. It could be you know that this is the function and this is function that's very critical to the company, but the crisis will affect it also. So what do you need to do? Okay, so this is where then you come to the strategy. The strategy is 4 fundamental strategy. The first one, the last one is always go for offensive. Singaporeans don't like to go offensive because they find that it's a but look at what the government is doing. What Lee Kuan Yew has done all along. He has never let down. It's always go for offensive. Okay, then what happens is you demonstrate that you're in control, you're in full confidence, and remember, you contain the problem as early as possible. The problem will hopefully disappear or dilute in terms of intensity. That's how I want you guys to always remember. Take away this part of my principle. You want to be a good BCM manager, be prepared to leave. The second thing is go hard. That's what I would go, and never say, okay, let's wait for a while. Every time you wait, you waste time. But every decision you make could be wrong. It doesn't matter. But if the thing happens and it really materializes, then what happened? Then nobody will say you are smart. Okay, so this is something that I cannot overly emphasize. Your job is to keep the company safe. You go for it, and that's what you're trained for. Okay, then we're writing the plan today, and then we're going to do testing, exercising, and then we'll go into program management mode. This is where your crisis management plan and your business continuity plan start to come together. Okay, come together, and then we can differentiate between crisis management and business continuity. Okay, then we go into the next one. What's the understanding is, you must really understand what is inside plan. It's not a BC plan. A lot of people like to write a book. I come from a British bank who likes to write books and write paragraphs. When we do recovery, it's 1 paragraph. You have to read 1 paragraph to execute the plan. But their HQ, I have to listen to them. When I first came into Standard Chartered Bank, I was actually based in Singapore. And what happened was they give me templates that write stories, how to recover. But remember, they are the boss, so you have to listen to them. So after that, when I became the global head, my comment was very simple. 1 bullet point, each bullet point 10 words. Start with a verb. Grammatically, it's wrong anyway. You understand? Done. So doesn't matter, right? So a lot of people in Asia say, I can't write. The Thais, the Filipinos, the Thais, the Malaysians, and even the Indonesians say, I cannot write. My English is not very good. You can't be wrong when you put a bullet point there, start with a verb, and tell me exactly what you want to do. And you have three activity, write 3 activity. Then I'll correct your English for you. Right? So this is what I would recommend you to do. Don't allow yourself to write the plan for someone, because they always use language and experience as a reason. That's the stupidest thing to fall for and subsequently you will own this for the rest of your life because you wrote it in the first place. Never fall for this trick. Okay, so in stand chart, everybody writes the plan. My job is just to say, get an English guy to check, which I have lots of Britisher anyway, to check the English to grammatically correct and make sense. That's all I do. Okay, next, the process is you have a template. Now, what I've given you is a template. You've downloaded a template. It's not the best template, but it's actually the template I use for consulting, by the way. That's why all my consultants are cursing and swearing. They say, Dr. Goh, you just gave our bread and butter away. I say, no. I say the more people who have our templates, the better. Because my view of being a consultant is I want to have an advisory role. I don't want to do the donkey work for you. Because you can do the work. Why am I doing the work for you? But later on, when you ask me come in, I can streamline the process or fine tune for you. That's my value. My value is not writing for you. You can write yourself, but you say very difficult, right? Okay, then you conduct a procedure writing workshop, how to write the plan. In your case, crisis management plan, 2 or 3 persons come together, discuss for half an hour, document it. Discuss for half an hour, document it. That's what I'll do for crisis management. But for a BC plan, I will have to have the 15 coordinator in the room and do a full workshop. That's the major difference between crisis management and business continuity. Then next thing is, okay, I will do an interview. I'll start to do an interview and then interview the subject matter and have a discussion. Last but not least, sorry, this one has been changed. It is to develop a crisis management plan. Now, what's a crisis management plan? In our context, a crisis management plan will have the generic portion called corporate. Later, you'll see it there. And then behind, we have each of the scenario. Like what I told you, in stand chart, I have 52 scenario. I've actually I've this file. I was just packing my cupboard. I've actually this file, nice file in an envelope sent to me from London. Okay, inside my one of my cupboard when I was clearing. These are 52 scenario. Okay, so I just spoke to one of the stand chart colleague in Malaysia about 2 years ago. She said they've gone up to 72 now. Okay, so the number of scenarios will increase as your complexity and your organization start to do. For example, one of the things I did not do was a cyber security incident response. They say, Dr. Goh, you say no disaster one. No, I did not say a cyber security incident response is not an IT plan. IT will respond to a cyber security. You have been encrypted. You have all this. They will try to recover and all these things. So there's IT disaster recovery plan. Then what are we doing? We have to do our crisis management business continuity plan and say without IT system, we only have the notebook on our table with nothing, with Microsoft Office. How do we run? How do we run? Right? But I don't want to run 48 hours after you tell me. You have to tell me now. So once you tell me now, I will go, what are the critical functions I have to do for next 2-3 days, right? So BCP comes in. Crisis management, what position should I take? With the regulators, with the authorities, with my customer, my key customer especially. All these must be done in sync, right? So this is why it's so difficult. And we need to sync all these plans together. Okay, so this is the life cycle, no different from BC. Like what Kenneth was saying, in crisis management, we spend a lot of time preventing it. Whistleblowing is something we should have done many years ago, which we didn't, seriously. That was something we do. And being an international organization, we don't care who sleep with who. Sorry, that is a fact of life. In international, I don't care, none of my business. But from this lesson, we have learned, you will be fired. The moment we get a whistleblower, we investigate, you get caught, you'll be fired. That is the rule coming out after this incident. The group CEO says so. You will be fired. No need to discuss. No matter how senior you are, you will be fired. Okay, so these are all the reduction strategy. Like example, some of your crisis management. Example, negotiation with union. You have to empower the guy negotiating on the ground with maximum capability. Close the deal now. I give 12 hours. Come back 12 hours. You get this deal. Not the deal is off. You go strike. We will take our action from a company point of view. Nothing wrong with that. But the person on the ground must be fully empowered and know how much he can negotiate on the ground. And normally we empower him a lot more. Just to say, I give limited time because they don't have time to go and have another meeting. So a few guys have to make a decision on the behalf of the union and give me an answer, which they will. They have collective power. So all these things are preempt for any crisis management. Okay, so anything that can prevent the crisis from happening, reduce the impact of crisis, you do it. You have a code of conduct, you have a whistleblowing. All these are very good, powerful documentation, or rather policy and framework to guard you against lawsuit. Every time you go to court, the judge will say, what have Standard Chartered Bank done to ensure that this could have been prevented? You have to give me an answer now. And it's always about policy, framework, enforcement, and all these things before that thing happens. But it still will happen, right? So once it happens, what do you do? I want you to be able to have crisis response. And response must be the person, the subject matter. In crisis management, is always a subject matter expert. And unfortunately, we always bring the legal, the compliance, the HR, and a CO. These are a few persons that was always on. Okay, those not needed. Normally, we don't even bother to call. Okay, Nick, then we do the rest of it, which is the crisis itself. Okay, then what's the crisis management plan? Okay, inside the plan, these are the things that we have. I'm going to go straight to the point. Yeah? The most important, once you have a plan, you must have a process to maintain the plan. How to maintain the plan? I have two choices for you. One is every year update the table to say these are changes made. I prefer this way. I prefer you to do an exercise. From the exercise, update the plan, then update the maintenance for the year. How many crisis management exercise can you do per year? Anyone wants to help me? Maybe you have a crisis management plan. How many can you do per year? Me? How many can you do per year?
If it's just myself, probably one.
Yes.
I don't think I can do many.
How many plans do we have? You probably have 4 to 5 easily, right?
As in my background is actually not in crisis management. Our team, Nigeria, currently don't have a crisis management team.
But even that, you only have 4 to 5, like what you've just done. 2 or 3 of them are disaster, 3 or 4 of them are crisis. So you can't be doing all every year. You probably pick one. So that's what you'll be doing. So what you can do is rotate your plan, and always remember, this is something not in the book. It's called flavor of the month. I think I told this in I did October 2019. I did exercise for this organization that handles all the old folks home and all these things, all the orphanage and all these things, and nursing home, all this. When we were doing that was my 3rd year, my final contract with them. Okay, it was October, and everybody was cursing and swearing because we locked out the old folks home, and then we gowned the whole team. It was a pandemic flu, by the way, scenario. For 3 years we did it, and you should have seen how much cursing and swearing. The next of kin was going, the nurse was prevent him to going in, and all these things. So it was October last year, and guess what happened? November, when it struck February. That's why I was very happy for them, because seriously, look at the number of casualty in our nursing home. There will be casualty, but look at the initial casualty that we have, because they are all ready. And normally every year we test 50 homes, and for nursing home or folks home and all, we test 50 of them. Okay, they have to do their dry run and they have literally stopped, fully gown, everything, all the equipment, all PPEs are available, by the way. So that's the reason why the first wave, you notice the homes aren't affected very, very badly. But subsequently, you know, if the variant comes, everybody will be affected. So, but you try doing that before COVID-19, you will say who's the idiot who would suggest it, right? So you have to wait for flavor of month. Same thing as the example I gave you is this. I remember I was in UAE and one of the comment made was this, Qantas dropped an engine onto Bali, onto one of the Indonesian islands, but didn't kill anybody. So what happened was Qantas was a victim, not victim, was a person, a perpetrator technically. Nothing can do, just say sorry. Singapore Airlines was the other A380 owner. And Singapore Airlines, what they did was they checked that they went double check all the engine, make sure the engine would not drop. And they put a press release. And the press release stated very clearly, we double check and you will not drop. Culture, Singapore culture, confident. Singapore Airlines. Okay, that's the way. Nothing wrong with that. I did not say anything wrong. The last company that has a airline that has a 380 at that point in time was actually Emirates. So what Emirates did was I was training Emirates team. That's why I knew about it. The Emirates team, the crisis management director told me, say we've been trying to say some of this incident, and the Emirates management, the Sheikh, all this refused to do anything until the A380 engine drops. And guess what happened? They say, what? Let's call for a meeting. So this guy was very smart. He called for a meeting. He runs a half an hour simulation on the engine dropping into Oman. Interesting, huh? Later I'll tell you why Oman. And killing 3 people. Okay, because Oman has diplomatic problem with UAE. So the constraint they have is you cannot fly, your UAE team cannot enter my country for investigation. So what do you do? So he ran it for half an hour and they raised a lot of questions for the Sheikh and the whole family to think about. And that's what I meant by when you have an opportunity to run a crisis management, run it this way. And don't give them the answer. Just let them walk away with more questions. And trust me, you have the full support when it comes to the crunch. And they love you because you are the one who actually at least give them some level of confidence that if something really happens, does happen, at least we had this conversation before. That's what management wants from you. So trust me, I'm not saying I'm very successful in the corporate, but the reason why people cannot fire me is because when they need help, I will give them the right answer. And I'm a pain to them, by the way. They really hated me because I give them a lot of problem. But they can't touch me because reason is because when something comes through, I'll fix it. But the bad thing is when you fix things as a Singaporean, we are not used to, we only know black and white. Singaporeans don't know how to operate in grey. And I've operated in grey too long. And I lost my sense of being a Singaporean. So that's something I want to share with you. The reason why I left is because I cannot operate in gray area. Gray area means you do whatever you need, but don't get caught. I know I will not be caught because whatever happened, I got a bunch of lawyers that will deal with me.